No, he's part of the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. One of the original Avengers as well. In the end, he helped end Thanos in Endgame. Ever since Phase 4 occurred, the MCU has begun to decline. My name's Kim, and my speech is called The Downfall of Marvel After Endgame. And in this discussion, I'll be persuading you on reasons why I believed what caused Marvel's self-destruction. In this, I'll discuss issues dealing with the MCU, with characters and actors, indecisiveness, organization, and quantitative equality. That's 4 things, sorry. To further discuss, let's begin with the first topic, issues dealing with the MCU. Dealing with characters and actors. In Avengers Endgame, the franchise and fandom lost a staggering amount of notable characters, including Black Widow and Tony Stark. In an article written by Kai Young titled 11 Real Reasons Why Post-Endgame is So Decisive, accessed April 16 to 2024, it mentions since the divide between the Avengers, it's made it difficult for audience to comprehend MCU's new direction, especially since the Avengers aren't expected to make a new appearance until 2026's Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, meaning that Marvel Studios are neglecting their most popular and prominent team. Moving on to outside issues, scandals, and deaths. Jeremy Renner. He plays Hawkeye, if you need a reminder. He's a star actor. It's rumored that Renner isn't as a graceful and loving man as he portrays Hawkeye as. An article called Jeremy Renner's ex-wife accuses him of emotional and physical and sexual abuse, access April 19th, 2024. Talks about in the article how Renner's divorced from his wife, Sony Paccio. In the divorce battle, Sony made some serious allegations against Renner, saying that Jeremy was emotionally and sexually abusive toward their daughter. And he's even gone far to place a weapon against his mouth and threatened to pull the trigger. In response, Jeremy denied all these allegations, saying that Sony was suffering from mental health issues and substance abuse as well. Lastly, the tragic death of Chadwick Boseman. An astonishing actor, I believe he's truly one of a kind. He played Black Panther, aka King T'Challa. And I believe that Chadwick had brought open arms to Black people who loved Marvel, myself included. And we really had someone to represent us. I can recall when the movie first came out, and everyone was going, Wakanda forever! And it was truly amazing. But since his passing, it's brought a dark cloud over the fandom. His death was so impactful, it caused a discourse within the second movie. David Betancourt wrote an article published by the Washington Post called How Chadwick Boseman's Death caused a change within the second movie, accessed April 19, 2024. It says the sequel was supposed to be about two kings clashing, but since his passing, it's caused it turned to mourning. There's even speculation about recasting, but the director, Ryan Coogler, said it was too soon, and I'm sure we can all agree. Overall, no one wants to be a part of a franchise where their favorite characters are being killed off or either replaced. And no one wants to be part of a fandom where they're constantly reminded of an actor's tragic death or a nasty scandal by seeing their faces. I believe after Endgame, Marvel has become more indecisive and unorganized for their projects. Though post-Endgame, they have become more experimental and exploratory with the decision, trying different genres, which isn't a terrible idea. I think it's generally smart. It's more of how difficult it is to make the connections between movies and projects. To get into depth, an article written by Lindsay Press entitled MCU 15 Problems with the Franchise Since the Release of Avengers Endgame, access April 16, 2024. Moonlights, the lack of connection with the MCU does me justice, honestly. Whether you enjoyed it or not, we can understand that there is no sort of connection or mention of any other MCU character. For everyone who doesn't know the storyline, it talks about two people named Mark and Steven and their intriguing journey. Yet the storyline has no sort of mention or reference to any sort of Marvel character since the MCU began in 2008. I mean, if someone were to make a claim on Twitter saying that there was a multiverse where the Avengers didn't exist, fans will most likely believe it. It makes it seem that Marvel has no clear path. To further prove this point, an article written by Rashidi Agner Horty, an editor from Amorador Valley Today, published an article called Why Marvel Has Declined in Popularity Since the Avengers Endgame, Access, April 16, 2024. It made me realize what Marvel's main issue is: quantity over quality. Because they prioritize how many projects they put out, whether it's good or bad, it's caused a decline in the franchise's popularity. From phases 1 to 3, Marvel has put out 23 projects, including sequels, trilogies. It had all excellent box office numbers, and the writing was great, which took them 11 years to create. Since 2021, Marvel thought it'd be a brilliant idea to push out 20 films, 17 of them being included in phase 4 and 5, which is extremely rushed, and the ratings honestly speak for themselves. I'm making a comparison to better your understanding. Of the 23 movies put out in 11 years of production, only 2 of them had bad rankings. Thor: Dark World, and I can agree, which is incredibly trash, and The Incredible Hulk, because the CGI was just bad. Compared to phase 4 and 5, you've got Eternals, Doctor Strange, Madness of Multitude, and Mrs. Marvel, WandaVision, and Moonlight, as I said before. I would continue the list, but it would go on and on forever, but you get the idea. To prove the law of diminishing, and it's already in progress, the ratings that are at an all-time low. As the projects are being put out at the speed of light, the attention is declining. It means that people aren't interested anymore. A good example would be WandaVision. The same article written by Lindsay Press talks about how people aren't interested anymore, which I especially resonate with because I watched the show and it wasn't really eye-catching. This proves that not only that people aren't interested, but the consistency is beginning to decline as well. The storyline between these two, WandaVision and Doctor Strange, becomes useless in a sense. Even production believes that the connection would not work, and it really didn't. This information is valid because it shows how rushing projects influences inconsistencies within the storyline. To solve this issue, I say decrease your yearly output. I believe that Marvel should cut back on their content. Elena Document wrote an article about how Marvel released 4 films and 5 series on Disney Plus alone. It's believed that they are to double the amount of projects compared through phase 1 and 3. This evidence proves that the Multiverse Saga is going to produce more compared to the Infinity Saga, and it's received a widespread of criticism and backlash. This evidence proves that Marvel needs to learn to leave their audience on their toes, make them craving for more. They need fewer end-of-the-world tropes. And as I mentioned earlier in the article by Lindsay Press, MCU 15 Problems with the Franchise Since the Release of Avengers Endgame. It isn't interesting when movies or franchises do the same trope over and over again. It gets boring. Earlier I mentioned that they're getting experimental with their genres, and I think they should move into the more eerie and creepy type content. This evidence proves that if you introduce more genres, you'll bring a bigger audience or bring back your own audience that left in the past. I think my facts are ideal. I think it would work if Marvel actually considered them. If you adore Marvel like I do, and I'm sure you have the same thoughts that I do, the consistency is declining. Did you hear what I said? The MCU is having a downfall. It's not interesting anymore. I still do love Captain America. His muscles in his face. Thank you.